At Delaware Orthopedic Specialists, you're never left in the dark. Not only are they the only fellowship-trained surgery center here in the state of Delaware, all of their providers are also specialists, which means that they're focusing on each and every part of the body specifically, so that when you come in with knee pain, you're getting a doctor specifically devoted to that. Wrist pain, wrist doctor, foot pain, foot doctor, so on and so forth. Why would you go anywhere where you're just going to get a general doctor that knows overall body when you can get somebody that knows the ins and outs of your exact injury? They're going to hold your hand and walk you through each and every step of the process so that you won't have any questions and you'll know exactly what you should be expecting. My family and friends trust EOS, and you should too. Give them a call at 302-655-9494 or head on over to delortho.com. Let them know that Talkin 215 sent you. And after they give you phenomenal care, head on over to Google, give them a great review.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins', this is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Sean, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215. Now here's your host, Jake Biasado.
Well. Look how the turntables. Phillies lose back-to-back games on the back of Taijuan Walker. Really, the biggest pressing issue, we talked about it off air, is there's not a whole lot of chief complaints when it comes to this Phillies team. I'll give you one. It's Taijuan Walker. Fellas, how long of a leash does this guy have? It's been that way since we signed him. Like, how long does this continue?
Look, the only thing that he was good for was that we would guarantee we're getting 5+ runs anytime he pitches. Like, that's the only thing, is the offense, for whatever reason, gave him all the run support that they never gave Nola, that they rarely give Suarez. Like, for whatever reason, the offense just comes alive when Taijuan Walker pitches. That's why he led the team in wins last year, but he sucks. He's down in it. His velocity's down. His command's terrible. His fifth inning is like the Nola Rav fourth inning last year. He's given up at least 5. Every single time he's given up at least 5. And he's going to hold us back. He can't be on this team in a starting capacity post All-Star game.
Look, there's 2 guys that are playing or starting on this roster that are only starting because of the contract that they have. That's Taijuan Walker and Nick Castellanos. If either one of those guys had a mid-level contract or something like that, something eatable or doable, they would not be playing every day. They would not be in the starting rotation. Sean, I thought you had the best tweet I saw about it when you said if the whole plan was to piggyback Turnbull off of Taijuan Walker or Sanchez in his starts, but Walker's given up 5-6 runs like each outing, what is the point then? Why not start the better pitcher at that point? If you know you can only get 2 good innings out of Walker, make him the piggyback guy after Turnbull goes 6 and gives up 1. What is it?
What is it worth to have a guy that's going to go 6 innings, but it's going to give up 5 earned runs? Right? I think he went 5 last start and he gave up 5 runs. Like, what is that worth? Because you're putting Turnbull back in because eventually he's going to slow down. Well, this guy's slowed down. This guy was never fast to begin with. I'm watching the pitch cast and it's telling me it's a slider, and this ball has no movement on it. Right? This guy, it's showing me a curveball, and I barely see a damn thing. Every single breaking ball he's got barely breaks, and not in the good way. Like, I don't see it. I see lazy fastballs and occasional changeups out of the guy, and there's just no pizzazz to it. The guy's getting rocked from the first inning to the 6th or whenever Topper takes him out. I can't believe how bad his stuff is and how Topper treats him like he is an ace, leaving him until the 7th inning, it seems like, every start.
No, I mean, like, the slider that he has is legitimately, more than any other professional pitcher's pitches, a meatball, because sliders made out of ground beef, meatballs, you can make them with a lot of different meat, ground beef. He's just throwing ground beef up there, and it's a meatball hanging over the plate. And he's getting, I mean, even in his first start where he did what? He went like 6 1/3, something like that. Ended up towards the end of it, getting a little rocked. He gave up like 3 runs in his first start. But Sean, you were touching on it. I was touching on it. Coach, shout out, was commenting on it. Even when he was getting through those innings, their average exit velo was like 93. He was getting hard hit outs left and right all over the field, but they were getting outs. And then they kind of caught up to him, and now it's just hard hit. Did you see the stretch of exit velocity in his last start? It was like 12 straight batters with an average exit velo of over 96 miles per hour.
Yeah,
I saw a stat that said in his starts, Taijuan Walker is the second worst in giving up barrel percentage. So when they hit his ball, they're getting the barrel on it. It's second worst of all starting pitchers that qualify, and he gives up the fifth most hard hit balls. With
Is Sixto Sanchez number one on that list?
I mean, I don't know. He might be, but I think what's crazy about it is like, and Sean, I'm piggybacking off of everything you just said. Like, I'm Turnbull right now. I'm just going to piggyback off of this, but what you were talking about where you don't see anything that he has through the 6 innings. I can even say somebody like Christopher Sanchez, even when he's getting lit up, I saw somebody tweet, man, you feel like Sanchez got lit up and he went 5 innings and gave up 1 run. Like, yeah, he got out of some damage, or bases loaded with no out and he struck out 2 and gave up 1 run. Like, he has that filthy changeup, that filthy slider, that filthy, just breaking ball that he can get out of jams with. Same thing with Nola, same thing with Wheeler, same thing with Ranger. They have those, I can kill you with this pitch when I'm on pitch, but I don't think Walker has that in his arsenal. And so he either has to be an artist and paint those corners perfectly. And if he doesn't, you're not seeing any movement on his 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And the thing that's most concerning to me about the barrel percentage and the hard hit percentage, I'm watching it's not like I'm seeing prime Albert Pujols or Mark McGwire or Griffey taking them. You're seeing like the 8 and 9 hole hitters like double off the wall that are batting 120 coming into this game that are just going 3 for 4 against him. So I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you went just ahead of me, because I was going to bring up, listen, I don't know what his barrel percentage is, but it has to be absolutely dreadful, because you're seeing the guy, the outfielders might as well just live on the warning track. Either it's getting to the warning track or it's getting over the fence. There's been we talk a lot about the eye test, and he is really not passing the eye test this year. I don't know. I don't know what Topper sees in him. I get that you can be misled and sign a guy to a contract, but at what point do you just take your loss with this one?
No, I don't get it. I mean, he's just such a player's coach. But we've said it a bunch. He literally lets the contracts dictate who's playing. I mean, you're seeing Whit Merrifield thrown in game in and game out because they decided to overpay him. And again, I'm eating crow. I was excited about it. For 102 games last season, he was a 307 hitter. You've seen him have 150 plus hit seasons. You've seen him really be dominant at the plate. And now he's clearly not that guy. He just has nothing at the plate. And he's just a guy in the field. The one advantage he has, he can play him anywhere other than pitcher or catcher, I guess. That's a perk. But you can play Edmundo and Cody Clemens pretty much anywhere as well. And they're a hell of a lot better at the plate than Whit Merrifield, but you're still seeing Whit getting starts where you should see Cody. And I get it, he's a lefty versus a righty, whatever. But you're just seeing time in and time out, these contracts are dictating who's playing. Nick Castellanos, Whit Merrifield, Taijuan Walker. Then you got guys like Spencer Turnbull not playing. You got guys you can't even say Brandon Marsh, because no matter how much we love him, he really can't hit lefties.
Well, he's starting tonight against the lefty.
Well, we have to. Coach, you touched on it. We're playing the most lefties in Major League Baseball.
It's unbelievable.
It's every other game. If you want Marsh to get any kind of at bats, you have to start him eventually. You can't just have him ride the pine every single game, and it's just lefty after lefty after lefty.
Also, it's 9:45 at night. The other guys might be tired. It's getting late. This game is going to be going on till midnight plus. I don't know how much it's going to be on by the time we finish up tonight, but I don't know how far I'm going to make it, fellas.
Did they say why Bohm isn't in the lineup tonight?
No, just day off.
So can we give him a day off against a righty instead of a lefty? Don't you think that would make sense? Instead of putting Mr. 198 batting average, Nick Castellanos is now your cleanup hitter. And look, I've ripped Johan Rojas. I don't think he's a major league hitter. I think he's been sketchy in the outfield. He had a play yesterday, actually, where he caught a pop fly, a deep fly out to the warning track in center field There was runners on first and second, and he tried to throw it to third to get the guy tagging up. Meanwhile, the guy from first tagged up to second. I don't know, unless you're Superman, you're not making that throw from the warning track and center all the way to third base. And Johan Rojas isn't making it. You throw that ball to the cutoff guy or second baseman, so both runners don't advance. It's miscues like that. But my point is, as much as I dog Rojas about his offense, he's batting 26 points higher than Castellanos. Is that insane? Is that absolutely insane? Because Rojas is a horrible hitter, and he's still a quarter of a full 100 points better than Castellanos. I don't, and this guy is now, he's the cleanup hitter for the team tonight.
Look, you see him like glimpses where you feel like he's getting there. Like you see him taking pitches. We talked about on this podcast, him working some walks. You see him laying off some things. You saw back-to-back games with home runs during this stretch. Like you're seeing things that you're like, all right, we got a little something going. But then it just always goes back to status quo, which is just untimely ground outs and double plays, pop outs, strikeouts. And it's just to have him batting fourth, like when he was even hot in the playoffs, and we argued, like, should he stay at 7 or should they move him up? And coach, like, you were like, oh, this guy's so red hot, you can't have him that deep in the lineup. And I argued, like, look, man, you leave him there because if you move him up, it's super, super, super dangerous up top. But then you kind of have a little bit of breathing space at the end. But where you leave him there, and it was just there's no time where you can take a breath of relief. And now him batting fourth. Again, we talk all the time about how are you going to protect Bryce Harper? How are you going to let Bryce see any kind of pitches? And Bryce is cooled off from the stretch in early to mid-May where he was red hot. He's kind of cooled off again a little bit. Not a ton, but you're seeing him not produce as much as he had. And it's just putting Castellanos batting fourth. I mean, over under 2.5 walks for Bryce Harper tonight. I'm going to take the under solely because Harper wants to be a hero, and you'll see him on like swing at pitches that he's just like, Bryce, just take the walk. They're obviously not throwing to you. Just let yourself get on base.
But part of me understands that as frustration too, right?
Oh, yeah,
like,
100%.
I got to swing at something because, I draw a walk, then what? The inning's over in the next pitch. At least when Bohm was batting behind him, pitchers were like, shit, if I walk Bryce here, I got the number 1 RBI guy on the planet right behind him. That's kind of tough. So I got to pitch to Bryce. And then if you pitch to Bryce, he makes you pay. That's called like smart baseball. But I don't understand putting the worst hitter, one of the worst hitters in the National League, actually, behind Bryce Harper. You just can't explain it to me.
Well, what else are you supposed to do? Like, I understand the sentiment on a 162 game season. You want to leave Bowman there. You want to shove Casty back in the back of the lineup where he can't hurt you as bad. But this is a guy that has been shown in years past to actually be a quality MLB hitter. Like, what else do you do to shake things up a little bit? I actually don't mind this move at all, because if anything is going to help him break out of a funk, you have to try something. You got to, first things first, you got to take him out of the lineup a little more often, give him some days off. But if you're not,
who are you
he's
putting
had
in?
one game this whole season. But
Maybe.
like, if you're going to change something else, throw him up there. Like, if JT wasn't performing so well in the 2-hole, I'd say move him to second. It's a long season. You got to shuffle things around, see how things mesh. And this is the one puzzle piece that you haven't really been able to figure out as far as reaching hitting how they should be hitting in this day and age.
Well, let's do this. Let's say Trey Turner just came back. Trey Turner comes back. You just mentioned that JT looks so good in the 2-hole. We just talked about Casty, where he's batting right now. Bohm was in the 4. Give me your order when Trey comes back. Are you moving JT out of there?
I trade Trey for a starting pitcher. I don't. That's only half tongue in cheek, but it's the other half serious.
Are we still just trotting Schwarber out at leadoff?
No.
Is that something we want to do?
Is it my order, or is it the order that I suspect will occur?
No, I want your order right now. You're made the manager of the Phillies, and you don't give a shit about anything but winning. Give me your lineup, your batting order.
It's not difficult. It's Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, Kyle Schwarber. You could possibly flip-flop Schwarber and Bohm. That's the only kind of one that I'm tentative on. Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos, Johan Rojas.
I actually like that a lot. Sean?
I feel like I'm going to any lineup I come up with right now is going to sound like a gross overreaction because I like how long is Sosa going to stay this hot? Like
Oh, seriously, no, that's a great point.
I'm about to tell you to put Schwarber out in the field so that Sosa can DH. We can move Marsh right back to center, get Rojas out of there.
Where the hell are you
Like,
putting Schwarber out there?
Where? Where? I'm putting him back in left field.
Yeah, I mean, with the defense Marsh is playing, Marsh can play. He can play the entire left side of the outfield, center and over. It's his.
I mean, can I take Casty out or right? At least I have a positive bat. I'll just move Schwarber.
You putting Trey Turner in the outfield at all?
No, we're not doing that.
I'm ready to do that yet.
Trey Turner in the outfield and Edmundo at short?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I think we need to pump the brakes on Edmundo being an everyday all-star shortstop.
For sure.
Look, I'm just saying, if you want to talk about getting Edmundo,
I'm going to overreact. Like
if you want to
right
talk
now,
about getting Edmundo out there, it's Trey in the outfield, Edmundo at short or second, and the Stott at short then taking Rojas or Casty out of the lineup, putting Trey in that spot, and then still you leave Schwarber as DH.
Just put Sosa in right field. Tell Casty to take a vacation, dude. That's why I said I'm going to sound like I'm overreacting because at this point, Sosa feels like a better everyday player than somebody else that is going to stay in, whether it be Castellanos. It's probably not Trey Turner long term, but like, man, I haven't seen this out of Trey Turner unless we have to give him a standing ovation. Like, ride this hot train right now. I'm not taking Sosa out of there. I'm saying, Trey, why did you take 6 weeks to heal up a hamstring injury, dude? Like you just let this guy come up and take your lunch money. Like, what are you going to do to get it back now? He's got to cool.
We already talked about it. He's getting paid too much. I mean, not too much. He's getting paid his.
He is getting paid too much.
Yeah, that's an argument that could be had. But he's getting paid too much on this Phillies team to not go immediately back into the starting lineup. Like his contract is going to put him right back in there.
You asked me what I would do paying $0.00. Like, I'm just saying, yeah. I would send that lineup out there, every fifth day or so. Give it to Taijuan Walker, let's see how the defense does since it's a scheduled loss anyway.
You want to talk about just absolute liabilities and absolute holes on this team? Backup catcher. You want to talk every fifth day? How about every fifth catch?
Garrett just diving to the left or to the right.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, shout out Short Kings. Like he has to do that for a pitch. Just painting the black, he's diving. If it's just not dead center cut. I mean, look, he had an incredible throw to get a runner out. That was like his highlight of the season so far. It was one of the best throws I've seen somebody make where the ball just carries the tag right to the foot. But it's like when that's your big walking away point, taking point of Garrett Stubbs, you're like, dude, this ain't good.
He'll be worth the roster spot if he can teach Rojas how to bunt. If he could teach Rojas how to bunt, yeah, sure. I think he'll be worth his spot on the team because
are they working on it together?
I don't know if anybody works on it because we scored 0 runs in the 10th and the 11th inning of an extra innings baseball game because Rojas could not bunt. He didn't know how. He was swinging it like a fly swatter. We saw it last year. We've seen it this year. I don't know if anybody besides Stubbs on this team can bunt. It's insane. But back to your thought, Jake, I'd love to have Trey Turner at leadoff just because you get to the playoffs and let's just say he draws a walk. Now all of a sudden, what is that pitcher thinking?
Oh, done. He's on second. You're thinking he's on second. I just let up a double.
Yeah.
You're automatically thinking they're getting a runner on second, nobody out to start this game.
Or a single from anybody else is first to third. Like,
oh, yeah.
You're on the base pass. The pitcher's pitching from the stretch. He's worrying about first base. Whereas, look, Schwarber, for everything that he does walk a lot. He's been hitting the ball, for average a lot better than he did last year.
Yeah.
But he's on first base. If I'm a pitcher, I'm not worried about shit. I'm really not.
No, I mean, if you get a double, he's going first to third. He ain't scoring.
Yeah. It's just Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask each of you. Give me your top 3 concerns for the Phillies. It could be a player. It could be the batting order. It could be a position group. It can be hitting with runners and scores. What is your top 3 concerns with this Phillies baseball team?
Well, we've kind of already touched on probably all of them already. I mean, I'm
Right.
going back to Taijuan Walker, right? That's the only
fifth starter.
a fifth starter.
No, but that's
sure.
the annoying thing is that shouldn't be a concern because we had a 5th starter with a sub-2 ERA. So it's like, why is that a concern? Because we're paying a guy too much.
I don't even want to say backup catcher because this is something that's going to hurt you far less than a 5th starter.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm thinking, okay, this question I'm asking is come playoff time because Garrett Stubbs isn't going to see the field come playoff time. So you're going into the playoffs right now.
There's Taijuan Walker. So, I mean, I don't know because
that's a good point too. That's a good point.
You know, your relief pitching at this point has been pretty damn good. I mean, obviously,
all right, so down the stretch, last month of the season, trying to lock up the NL East. Last month of the season, where every game counts, we'll do it that way.
It's Nick Castellanos and Johan Rojas are probably right at the top of the list. I'm watching their at bats more closely than some of the other guys and throughout the rest of the lineup because I'm just waiting for them to kind of fuck up. You know, Rojas seems like I'm holding my breath every single time there's a ball hit in the center field because I'm like, I don't know what Rojas I'm getting today.
Yeah. You get an eye patch Rojas or
yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, listen, the team has played damn good as a whole, right? 7 hitters on most nights. I'm not really worried about. I've got 4 starters. You know, aside from again, Coach even mentioned it. Christopher Sanchez gets in trouble. It seems like he allows 1 run and loads the bases, and then he's out of trouble. And by the time you kind of sit down and finish your food, he's through 6 and he's given up 1 run. So I can't even say that's much of a concern.
I can't believe nobody's really brought up a concern that I think is pretty evident, and you've seen it. I've seen multiple games get lost strictly because of this, and that's just errors on the the defensive end. I mean,
I think Rojas falls into that category, right?
Rojas falls into that, and then like again, Bohm, he says the perfect things. He's like, look, man, 162 game season. Some days you're just gonna suck, and I suck.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I get that. But you've seen Witt make a big, an error. Stott has made a couple pretty big, costly errors. You see errors in the outfield. Obviously, Rojas is in there. You see pass balls. It seems like we're getting pass balls at a higher rate than we've ever had in the past. Like, errors are really coming back on these games that we have lost, which, again, not a whole lot. We've been very hot. But I can think of like the Mets game where we should have had that game. We ended up taking it to extras. We lost it in extras. Game should have ended in regulation if it wasn't for a Stott error that allowed the game to continue. You had another game recently where we were doing all right, and then it was just error. Oh, and now the inning continues, and boom, there's 3 more runs. Like, just there's been things that have held us back, and I think error is at the top of that list.
So you're right, especially, I mean, it hasn't been on top of my mind so much because Trey's been out. That's the one guy where I'm like, dude, you're getting $30 million a year. You're hitting average, man. I need you to be at least above average.
Before he went out, he was a 321 hitter.
Right. No, and you're right.
He was prime Trey this season.
But the fielding has been his kind of the bane of his existence.
Yeah.
Pretty much throughout his entire Phillies career. I tell you what I do worry about, though, is the management of the bullpen by the time we get into extras. Because it's like, man, I am so stressed by the time this game gets into the 10th because we've got, Ortiz out there and he's got a runner on second. And you're like, shit, man, is this really the best that we could do right now?
Hey, Junior
Marte. If it's not Strom, Hoffman, or Alvarado, I'm kind of like,
You said Strom or Alvarado? Did you say Hoffman there?
Strom, Hoffman, or if it's not one of those 3, I'm kind of like,
100%. And you can't pitch him Orion you feel okay about, but I mean, you see what Ben Silver said coming to light every time. If they're sitting fastball every single pitch, eventually he's going to throw it, and it's just a lifeless fastball. It just floats in there. I mean, it's floating in there at 97, 98, but you see it's literally a frozen rope. It just has no movement on it whatsoever. And so you're seeing him every now and then get hit up pretty good. But Orion, you feel pretty good about. And then outside of those guys, it's a roll of the dice. You could get Sir Anthony pitching a 2K, one hit scoreless inning, or you could have him have 3 walks, 2 hits, and give up 2 to 3 runs.
I think when it comes to the trade deadline, I need another bullpen arm. I don't need a closer necessarily.
Need another lefty. I'd
like some, because you can't trust Soto, right?
No, you only have Hoffman and Strom.
Strom and Alvarado, the 2 lefties.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Alvarado and Strom. Yeah, I mean, so that's 2 really good ones. I guess you really need a lefty or a righty.
Either one. I just need somebody else I can depend on, to where when it gets to high leverage, even if those guys already pitched, I don't have to go to Sir Anthony. I don't have to go to Ortiz. I don't have to go to Soto. Guys, one underlying issue that I had that I think come playoff time, and everybody may laugh at this and think it's stupid, it may not even be top 3, but I honestly have concerns about Dusty Wathan's ability to know situational base running. I'm not even kidding. I feel like this has been an under talked about issue for the last 3 years now.
Not on this podcast.
Not on this podcast, not on our tweets and everything like that. But there literally was a game this year where he screwed JT over so bad, waved him in, and then after JT was past him, his vision, put up the stop sign, and JT's hosed by 10 feet at the plate. There's times where we can easily score from second to home. Trey Turner's on second, and he's holding up the thing, and the ball's not even on the infield yet. And I'm like, what are we doing? There's 2 outs. You got to send him. Of course, the next guy gets out. He pops up or strikes out. And I'm like, this guy, every run in playoffs counts. I don't know what this guy has done to deserve this job, because if you look at it, it's insane. Like, I just don't think he has a good feel for it. Maybe because can he see where the ball is in the outfield? I'm not trying to be ageist here, but he's up there in age. Can he tell? Can his peripheral see oh, my guy's going this fast? The ball's in the outfielder's gloves right now. He's rounding. Does he have a feel for that shit?
Clearly he does. I mean, it's evident that he doesn't. He's the worst third base coach in baseball.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, I definitely would like to know how he compares to other third base coaches, because I'm not going to act like I pay enough attention.
Neither.
We need Ben Silver next gen stats on the third base coach algorithm metrics.
I don't even mind. I know there's going to be a gap where he's a little too aggressive and somebody gets called out at home. As much as I hate it, I almost never get upset or pissy whenever somebody gets called out at home, because you're being aggressive. And this is a game where really the percentages are against you, as far as just leaving a guy stranded at third when maybe he could have made it, and then ultimately it seems like the next batter just pops up, like you just mentioned. It's the not sending guys. This team is fast.
Know your personnel, right?
Yeah,
this team is fast. Anybody but Schwarber or maybe Bone or Cassie, send them.
Right. And you don't really, that doesn't, I don't know, the momentum doesn't swing quite the same way if the guy gets tagged out at home, quite like if you just leave 10 guys stranded on base. Right. I always felt like the aggressive team tends to win a little more often. So I don't think it's been enough of a hindrance for me to spend a ton of time on it.
It probably hasn't. I'm just being a bitch.
We're nitpicking here, guys. Anybody that's listening, we are really nitpicking.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number 1
games in a row when we're like Dusty Wathan.
Hey, we would be. I can't believe we haven't brought this up yet, and we're talking about the Phillies. We're talking about baseball. Do we all want to pour one out for the retirement of Angel Hernandez, a Philly fan favorite?
Out, Angel.
One of the best umpires this game has ever seen.
Dead.
I love somebody tweeted there like, this asshole thought he was signing it as an extension, but he couldn't even see what he is like. I forgot. Oh damn, I screwed that one up royally. Golly.
You imagine that guy trying to sign for his resignation and he keeps missing the box.
It's funny because somebody put together a compilation of Bryce being ejected twice, Bone being ejected, Schwarber being ejected. I think
it was just MLB highlights.
Yeah.
It was like MLB highlights, and half of them were Phillies highlights. It was like, oh, God.
And some of the announcers are like, what is he looking like? They put together his top 10 worst calls or something like that. And one of the pitches that he called for a strike, it was in the World Baseball Classic, and the catcher had to like go to his knees and like dive to catch the ball. It was that wild of a pitch. And Angel was like, ring him. Strike. Like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing?
Yeah, I remember in that game that Schwarber got tossed, he at the time had the furthest ball from the plate called a strike at over 6 inches off the plate. It was like 6.28 inches outside or inside, and he called it a strike. Sean, were you at that game with me? I know I was at that game, the Schwarber game, and I said it right when Dusty Baker announced who was doing the umpiring and everything. I was like, oh, somebody's getting tossed. I said, guarantee it. Angel Hernandez behind home plate at the Phillies game, somebody's getting tossed.
The beauty of that, though, was during Schwarber's rant, he stuck up for the Brewers, too.
Yeah, he was like, you just suck.
You're screwing them, too.
You're you're just terrible.
Yeah. Whoever was pitching that game for us, it was like a reliever that came in, and it was like a 1-2 count to McCutcheon, I think, who was on the Brewers at the time. And you could tell the pitcher missed, and he wasn't expecting a strikeout. He was like ready for the ball back, and then Angel rang him up, and then he was like, "Yep, okay, yeah, that's a strikeout." And JT was like, "Yeah, throw it around the horn." Like, yeah, that was a strikeout for sure. But you were right. That I've never normally when somebody gets ejected and they're arguing for their own behalf. But he was like, "You fuck them too." Like, yeah. I'm not just arguing for myself.
I love John Boy did like the lip reading for when Bryce got called out on the check swing that like the bat barely left his shoulder, and Angel's just being a smug asshole, and he's like, you swung, and he's like letting Bryce go, and he's like, Angel goes, you'll see, and Bryce goes, fuck you, you'll see. He's like, I'll see, you'll see.
Oh,
and
man.
then he obviously didn't watch it because he doesn't give a shit. Yeah. But if he did, he'd see the bat never came close to the plate.
He will not be missed.
No. And now if CB Buckner can be next.
Laz Diaz or CB Buckner, step right up.
I mean,
what is Bryce called? That one guy, 120?
Yeah, he's not going to be up for long.
No, he's going back down to the minors, 120.
Yeah, shout out to Topper for actually coming on out and arguing and seemingly getting pretty riled up for his guy.
Love that.
Yeah. It didn't help much.
No.
The team wasn't missing any motivation at that point, so it wasn't like filling up the empty tank or anything, but I appreciate it. He was out there in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that he finally shows something, standing up for something. And like, look, we're winning. We're the number one team in baseball. But I'm not like, and I'm gonna ride this team, and I'm gonna trust that he's the right guy because we're the number one team in baseball. But I'm not the biggest Topper guy.
I'm not either. But like, we just talked about the Schwarber ejection, right? Girardi just moseyed on out there and was like, Angel, what's going? Your whole bench is going crazy. Schwarber's going crazy. And you're just like, you can't call that, man. You got to get tossed too. It's the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, yeah. No, I said it at the game. I was screaming from our old seats. And he just walks out, hey, Angel, come on, man. That was probably a ball. Oh, you want me to go back to the dugout? Okay.
I remember you live tweeting that because I was upset that I wasn't there and how pissed you were at Girardi.
Yeah. I mean, I never liked the guy, but I just hate when a manager doesn't stand up for his players. And so that's a knock that I have on Topper because you'll see guys get ejected and he'll just kind of be like, all right, that was bad call. And like ump will turn and be like, who said that? It wasn't me. I didn't say nothing.
Sometimes he's like Stoop Kid from Hey Arnold, man. Stoop Kid never leaves the stoop. He's just got that 1 foot up on there. Just don't make me make that one more step, man. Please.
Great reference.
Oh man. No, so look, great baseball team. They're gonna win tonight. Good luck, Wheels. Obviously when we see these terrible lineups, they end up scoring 7 runs. So Cody,
It's San Francisco though, man. We're 2-15 in our last 17
yeah,
games.
they just have our number, man.
They cannot play there. They just cannot play there. I don't know what it is.
It's too late, man. It's 9:45.
Well,
No, I mean,
you guys were talking about Edmundo, like, oh, you got to leave him in. Like, if it was me, like, he's so hot, you can't take him out. Like, what do you do with Cody Clemens? Is he just going to be our Matt Stairs? Like, is he going to be our clutch pinch hitter guy, or do you have a place to put him?
He's going to get the shaft. He's the one guy on this team.
Unfortunately, it's like, where do you put him? Although he plays great defense, he really does.
He's going to get. They're going to put him at AAA.
No, they cannot. If they do that, oh my God,
they will. I'm saying it's not right. He's going to get the shaft, but they're going to throw him right.
He's not going to be the Matt Stairs. He's not going to be your clutch pinch hitter.
He's more of like, to me, not Matt Stairs, because Matt Stairs was just home run or nothing. He's like Greg Dobbs to me. If you guys remember Greg Dobbs during the World Series run, he had like, whenever he would pinch hit, he had like the best pinch hit batting average of anybody in the last 10 years, something like that. But just like a scrappy lunch pail, just, where do you need me to play? You need me left field? You need me right field? You need me he's playing third base tonight. He's played second, short, first base. Like, you talk about a super utility guy that just shows up when he needs to. Like, that's Cody Clemens. And I'd much rather have somebody like Ruiz be sent down, work on a couple pitches, master him. No one's going to claim him or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Junior Marte is going to take Ruiz's spot. Like, they're going to go pitch.
How old is Ruiz? I thought he was a bit older.
I don't know. I need a phantom. I need a phantom IL from like Sir Anthony or something.
I mean, Clemens has been everything that you want out of Merrifield. Like, it's like that's exactly the kind of guy that you want taking Merrifield's positions. His games played, man. Obviously, you can't do anything with him. You can't send him down, right?
But let me ask y'all this: what is the difference between Rojas and Pache? Because I feel like they're the same person, and we have two of them.
Well, Pache has the second highest National League exit velocity.
Understand that.
Shout out Ben Silver.
Outside of that, like, what are we talking about? They're both really good defensive, fast, speedy outfielders that don't have a good bat.
One's Dominican and one's Nicaraguan. I don't even know if that's true.
But you see what I'm saying? Why wouldn't one of them be the ones to be sent down? Because they're literally like the same player. I feel like
one of them should go down.
Both right-handed, both center field, good defenders, both fast, both not good with the bat. Like, I don't think Pache has any more options, so that's the problem.
He does not. Rojas.
They're both Dominican. Sorry.
Okay. Well, there you go.
My bad. Also, Jose Ruiz, 29 years old.
Yeah.
29. I thought he was a baby. I thought he was
29.
No, he looks 38 minimum.
There's going to be it's not an easy decision because Pache and Merrifield do not have options left. So you're looking at Rojas or Ruiz outside of Clemens because we're all in agreement it shouldn't be Clemens. I mean, what else do you want the kid to do at this point, right? Like, what else?
And obviously, it's not going to be Rojas. I mean, he's your starting center fielder. You should have that discussion, but it's not going to be.
Well, like you said, Jake, what's the problem with against lefties putting Pache in center, and then against righties, Marsh is your center fielder, and then you have the luxury in left field of maybe you want a Schwarber day, maybe you want a Merrifield day.
No, you don't want it. You never want a Schwarber day. You never want a Schwarber day. You never want a Merrifield day.
I mean, that's just if you
just don't want to have
Sosa and Trey, right? If you wanted to DH one of those guys.
Those are 2 days you don't want to have. You're in for a bad time.
I'm just saying, I don't understand, like, if we're playing Cassie every day because of his contract, if we're starting Taiwan in the starting rotation because of his contract, at what point do we say, hey, I'd just rather play the best players and keep the best players, and that means Cody Clemens stays? Like, how many times are you going to play this game? Like, how many times are you going to do it? Do we want to win a World Series, or do we want to, like, stroke egos? What do we want to do here?
I want to win.
I would like to win, too.
I would like to win games.
Yeah. I would like to win.
You know what that sound is. That's the sound of summer, and there's no better way to kick off this summer season than with an ice-cold Dewey beer. Dewey Beer recently voted the #1 brew pub in the nation.
the nation #1 brew pub with locations in Delaware and even in Colorado, has some of the coldest, crispest, most delicious beer I have ever tasted. And you're going to be able to get it for free at the Talkin 215 free beer Phillies tailgates. You know we're always advertising them on our social media, but enough about that. Let's talk about Dewey for a little bit. Locally owned and operated, they use only the finest ingredients and go through a painstaking process to make sure that the best product possible is in that can, and you need that can in your hand. Head on over to deweybeerco.com to see where Dewey is sold near you and get yourself some of the delicious El Trono, Swishy Pants, or any of their other incredible beers. Dewey Beer. Let's kick off summer right, folks.
You're a cleanup hitter. First at bat, struck out in a ball that bounced like like they were playing cricket.
Nick, I'm so hard. I'm trying because we're doing so well to not bury you, dude.
And Harper walked, so that's one.
There you go. I mean, I'm on Mendoza line watch here with Casty. We're down to 197. The Mendoza minute.
For your $20 million outfielder.
I thought I saw a stat that said he does not have an extra base hit outside of his 3 home runs that he's hit. So he has not hit.
He has multiple.
He had a double, I thought.
Did he?
I believe he has a triple.
You are right about that.
I believe he has 2 doubles and a triple.
Two doubles, and he's played every game this year?
Obviously terrible.
He's played 55 games and he has 2 doubles.
This is game 56, by the way.
56 games, 2 doubles. I could do that. What are we doing?
I can tell you what we're doing on Sunday in the G lot, the night game. Bro, this tailgate's going to be wild. You already know. People are going to be showing up there. Lots open 2 o'clock. You know we're going to be there 2 o'clock with ice cold Deweys, playing bucket golf, just doing our damn thing. It's gonna be a good time, man.
Play some bucket golf, grab a beer, grab a roadie. I won't tell anybody.
He's got 3 doubles and a triple, by the way.
Once every 15 games, we'll get an extra base.
6 home runs, 3 doubles and a triple. So he has 10 extra base hits on the season.
Batting 197.
That's bad.
That's bad. He's got a 570 OPS.
That's not good.
No, it's awful.
And I mean, if you think about it, we used to get on Schwarber for hitting around 205, 210. But then Schwarber hit like 45 home runs. So I can kind of live with that. And he walked, almost 100 times. So I can live with that. But when you're not hitting 45 home runs and you're not walking 100 times, I can't live with 197. I can't.
No, we at least fought about Schwarber. There's no fight. There's no back and forth about Casty. The guy needs to shit or get off the pot.
No, it's a shame because we got him for 2 at least. This is his 3rd season with the team.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got him 2 more years.
It's a long 5 years.
We only got Schwarber for 1 more year.
Yeah. Just win the whole damn thing this year. So all these conversations are meaningless. Please.
Easy, simple way to get rid of all this conversation.
Yeah, just win. Again,
Win
they're the #1 team in baseball. We're having this whole episode. They're the #1 team in baseball. Their pitching is incredible.
How are these guys all complaining? Listen, do you realize how in the woods we are with these complaints right now? We're just keeping it true to Talkin 215. We just gotta air out whatever grievances we have.
Yeah.
What do you want us to talk about? You want to come? Welcome to Talkin 215. The Phillies are good. Hey, thanks for listening. See you next time. Phillies good baseball. Thank you.
Ball go boom.
Look, Mitchkov's probably coming to Philly next year. That's big stuff. Here's my question. Thursday, June 1st. James Bradbury going to be on this team?
Oh my God, it's already June 1st.
I think
he hasn't been spotted, right?
We should ask Elliot Short Parks.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to reliable people that you just trustworthy, you know everything that they say, you take it just as truth. You got to go to Elliott Shore Parks.
Is James Bradbury in a gang? Is that the reason?
He's actually on the corner right now with a spoon and a lighter with some sort of dark amber substance, according to Elliott Shore Parks.
That needs to be an article that is
I
written.
think there's a syringe. Hold on.
Sources tell me. Look,
That's
I
gonna
got
be
a
my
lot. I got a
favorite
lot of
bit.
syringes at the office here. For those
That's
that
my
are
favorite bit.
watching, clearly I'm recording on the job.
Let them know for context sake, Jake. Like what's
Oh, I'm a paramedic.
there? You
got-
go.
I got pink stethoscope on.
There you go.
Very cringe, by the way. Oh, are you? Are you a medical professional? Just keep the stethoscope on, just like a doctor on Instagram.
1,000%. I didn't wear this until the show. You serious? I just picked somebody up off the floor, and it, it wasn't Taiwan Walker's ERA because that thing's up in the ceiling.
But
Like getting that down.
Hey yo, tell you what, but yeah, paramedic. That's me.
the more you know.
The more you know. Sean, got a little bit of a gripe to pick with you. We debut our new intro. Shout out the voiceover couple. Done some really, really cool things. They've worked with a number of professional sports teams. The Bengals and the Hurricanes are two that just come to mind right on the top of my head. But we had that new sweet intro at the end of the intro. And here's your host, Jake Biasato. And then Sean takes the lead there.
You were struggling. I just helped you along, okay?
No,
Like
I get
that guy running the 400 in the 92 Olympics. He blows his hamstring, and his dad helps him across the finish line. That's all I did. I just put
Thanks,
my
Dad.
arm around you. I said, "Son, everything's gonna be all right. I got you from here, okay?" And then we
Thanks.
went on to have an awesome podcast.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Dad. If speaking of awesome things, if you want to go to the Phillies game this weekend, we are giving away 2 tickets on our social media, Instagram and Twitter. So they're on there now. The drawing will be Friday, sometime around 6 p.m. I'm usually doing stuff around then, so I look at my phone. I'm like, shit, 6:45. Better draw. So sometime around 6 p.m. We'll notify it, and then once notified, you have about 90 minutes to accept or we redraw. But look, it's free to enter. You just got to follow the easy steps on our Instagram and Twitter. And for anybody on those, the only page that would reach out to you regarding that giveaway is ours. So just double check. There's a couple copycat pages out there trying to get people's personal information, sending them a link that you have to fill out to be able to claim your prize. Not how it works at all. Only trust the verified Instagram that is ours. Shout out us, over 1,000 followers on Instagram with only following 48. So that follower to following ratio from the beginning, that's something that I hold near and dear. You see other pods, you see groups, pages. Oh, I have 10,000 followers. Yeah, well, you're following 15,000 people. So that's not impressive. But
You gotta follow the good ones, though, man. You gotta see the good stuff.
yeah,
It's just not a follow for follow. That's not what's going on.
No, I follow some good stuff. I follow 48 great pages.
Do you follow Cody Clemens?
Sure.
Because
He's not pumping out quality content.
No.
He just made an amazing play at third base. No big deal.
He just watches it. He just posts videos of his father eating out of a dog bowl.
Gentlemen, final thoughts?
Final thought. Free my boy Spencer Turnbull. Free him.
Jeff Hoffman, no Nirvana.
Something in the way. No, we need something though. We need something. That'll be my final thought. Give us something. Give us some kind of walk-up song for either Alvarado, Jeff Hoffman, or Matt Strom, because these are 3 guys that all should be in the All-Star game. Strom and Hoffman on stats alone. I mean, Strom is having one of the best seasons a relievers had in recent memory. Strom's numbers are incredible. So send somebody out on the field with a sick reliever walkout.